Scale, the final frontier. These are the projects of CJ Make Stuff. My mission to 3D print each part of the warp core, to solder an LED matrix that simulates its glow, to program the circuit that powers its pulse, to boldly recreate the heart of the Enterprise like never before. Hey guys, I'm CJ and I make stuff. Today I'm tackling an iconic build, the warp core from the USS Enterprise NCC 1701D as seen in Star Trek The Next Generation. Now, I know what you're thinking, my opening monologue might have been a bit of a stretch. I'm not the first to build this. In fact, this design was created by another talented maker, Crazy J. I'll link his Thingiverse page if you want to download the files and print it yourself, or check out his Etsy page, Warp Speed 3D Printing, if you'd rather just grab a pre-made version. I actually found this model through another YouTuber, Norm from Adam Savage's Tested, built this exact warp core, so I'm keeping this video short and focusing on the parts that weren't covered in the tested build, like assembling and programming the LED matrix to get that signature warp core glow. All right, let's get into it and start making. First off, there are a few different versions of this warp core model floating around. Since I'll be resin printing the parts, I went with the warp core V2 files from Thingiverse. But if you're a Bamboo Labs printer owner, there's a version on Maker's World that's already set up and good to go for your machine. Now, I actually used two different printers for this project. For most of the components, I went with the Haygears Reflex RS. If you want to learn more about that printer, I've got a full review on my main channel, which I'll link in the description. But I'll just say here, this printer is hands down the most accurate printer I've ever used, making it perfect for multi-part models like this warp core. I printed the solid parts with the Haygears Rapid Prototyping resin and used Elegoo High Clear resin for the transparent coils and windows. For the internal LED assembly and the bottom cover, I switched to my Cheaty Tech Q1 Pro using some Cheaty ABS Rapido for extra durability. The great thing about the Haygears Reflex RS is its amazing auto supports and dynamic print adjustments. I was able to print most of the parts vertically and even directly on the build plate without supports, which meant minimal post-processing. Once I had all the components cleaned up, it was time to get to painting. For the warp coils and other clear parts, I used a few coats of Rust-Oleum frosted glass finish, followed by a couple of coats of matte clear coat to seal it all in. For the rest of the components, I started with a couple light coats of Tamiya Gray primer, then I applied a light coat of Tamiya Gunship Gray, followed by a subtle dusting of Tester's Graphite Gray Metallic for that perfect metallic finish. I applied the finer details by hand. I wrapped everything up with a few coats of matte clear to give it a smooth finish look. While the parts were drying, I dove into the LED matrix. First, I glued the 6 parts of the LED holder together. Then I cut the LED strips, 10 strips of 11 LEDs for each of the main coils, 1 strip of 10 for the chamber, 2 strips of 6 for the power conduits, and 1 strip of 7 LEDs for the base lettering. Before assembly, I tinned both the LED pads and the wire segments to make soldering easier. Now onto the assembly. Luckily, Crazy J provided a handy wiring diagram, which simplified things, but here's a few notes from my experience. First off, while the LED strips come with adhesive backing, I didn't use it. Instead, I left the backing film on so I could still slide the strips back and forth inside the holder. This is actually crucial because you'll need to access solder points that are covered later. Also, the LED strips are directional and must be placed correctly. Each LED has a small arrow indicating the data signal direction. You'll want to orient the strip so the data flows in the direction of the arrows. Here's what it looks like in the holder. I've also added the direction arrows to the wiring diagram, so feel free to pause here to double check that you've got everything lined up right. Once the LED strips were in place, I soldered them all together, being extra careful not to melt any of the 3D printed parts. Sliding the strips around really helped with this. For the control board, I soldered DuPont pins to the 3 GPIO points and crimped up a triple DuPont connector for easy plug and play with the board. Lastly, I soldered in the power input barrel connector and switch, and we were good to go. Before we get to final assembly, let's dive into programming the D1 Mini Wi-Fi module. First off, you'll need a couple of JSON files. Head over to Crazy J's Thingiverse page where he's provided the links and download both of the files. Next, plug in the D1 Mini into your computer using a micro USB data cable, then head to install.wled.me. In the dropdown, you'll see the option to install the latest beta version, but I've run into issues with that not installing properly, so I recommend selecting the latest stable version to avoid any possible headaches. Once you've selected the WLED version, click Install. A serial pop-up should appear. Select your Wi-Fi board, click Connect, confirm the install, and let it do its thing. When it's done, hit Next, and you'll be prompted to configure your Wi-Fi connection. Once you enter the password and it connects to Wi-Fi successfully, click Visit Device to go to the WLED UI. Be sure to keep the Install tab open, however, because we'll need to come back to it later. The first thing to do in the WLED UI is to note the IP address assigned to the board. You'll need this later to pair with the mobile app. Now let's configure the device. Open the Config tab, scroll down and click Security and Update. This is where we'll load our presets and configuration. Under Restore Preset, click Choose File and select the preset JSON file you downloaded earlier. Click Upload, and once it's successfully uploaded, click Save at the top of the screen. Now, if you go to the PC Mode tab, you should see that all the presets have been added. Next, head back to the Security and Update page. This time, under Restore Configuration, upload the configuration JSON file. When you do this, the board will reboot and you'll be disconnected since the Wi-Fi connection resets. No worries, just go back to the Install tab, click Change Wi-Fi, and re-enter your Wi-Fi credentials. After reconnect, go back to the PC Mode tab, and you'll see the configuration for all 10 LED segments has been added. Once the board is connected to the Warp Core model, you can control the lighting from this screen by selecting the preset. You can also pick which preset you want as the default. I'm using Warp 1. Alternatively, you can control everything from the WLED mobile app. Just install the WLED app, open it up, and add the device by entering the IP address we noted earlier, along with a name for the device. Now you can control all the lighting effects from your mobile device. All right, it's time to assemble the model. Thanks to the micron level accuracy of the prints, the process was super simple. Aside from having to scrape a little paint off some pegs and holes, I didn't need to sand drill or grind anything. The pieces fit together with little to no hassle. In fact, the LED matrix is screwed in, and the top and bottom pieces of the warp core are just friction fit, so I can easily take it apart for future mods. I was a bit concerned about inserting the metal rods into the center chamber since any misalignment in the holes could have caused problems, but everything lined up perfectly and I had no trouble sliding all the rods into place. Of course, not everything went flawlessly. Somehow I ended up printing the wrong version of the base. This is version 1, which doesn't have the light up lettering. It's not a huge deal for now since I plan to modify the model later to run on a rechargeable battery pack with a USB-C charging port. I also made a classic mistake by not fully reading the instructions and just winging it with the wiring diagram. I cut the base LED strip one LED too short, which threw off the entire matrix. Instead of redoing the strip, I adjusted the presets by subtracting 1 from each start and stop point. With 13 presets and 10 segments each, I probably would have saved time by just soldering in a 7 LED strip. Lesson learned. A quick build note. To get the power conduit strips up and into the chamber, the connecting wires needed to be longer, but once everything was assembled, the wires ended up being too long. Pushing them back into the chamber cast shadows on the windows, so I had to shorten the wires and resolder the segments. Also, like Norm from Tested, I used some vellum which I glued to the inside of the clear coils and windows to help diffuse the LED lights. And that's it, guys. That's the full process of building this warp core model from scratch. After tackling the print time, post-processing, painting, assembly, soldering, and programming the LED matrix, I'd say this was a solid 3-day project with a total material cost ranging between $50 and $100 depending on the printer and materials you use. If you're a Trekkie with the tools and skills, I highly recommend giving this build a shot. It's definitely worth the effort, but heads up, it's quite the undertaking. Luckily, if you really want one but don't have the means to make it yourself, you can always head over to Etsy and buy one. They're not cheap, but after making one myself, I can say the price is definitely fair. Thanks for joining me on this project, guys. I'm going to leave you with some sweet footage of the warp core cycling through all its presets. While you're enjoying the light show, don't forget to hit that like button, get subscribed, and ring the bell so you don't miss out on what I'm building next.